Thank you, Sadipta. It's been really great getting to know Sadipta and his team over the past year, working with the Chamber and other local organizations, universities, etc., working on collaboration between the three main parts of what we need for this ecosystem to work, which are universities, corporations, and startups. It's been fun. So he talked a lot about B2B, and I realized that we should probably tell you a little bit more about our model. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, we're what you call a seed accelerator. So we invest a small amount of money, up to $25,000 per team that we bring in, and then we put them through a 12-week kind of boot camp. It's what I like to call an applied MBA on steroids for techies. And then this is their graduation. So they're going to be showing off to you what they've done over the past 12 weeks, how they've applied the mentorship, the money, and all the other great stuff they get from the community to their companies to help build them faster, stronger, better. Before I bring them up, though, a couple more things. These are actually all the companies that have been through the program so far. So congratulations to everybody who has made it through the program. If we could give them all a round of applause. We have most of the alumni here today. And today we have some great sponsors that are helping us out. We have from the Livid Lobster Studios. They're here handling the Ustream for us today. So hello again to all the Ustream viewers. Travis Wolf, Montgomery Kosha, and Investis are also our sponsors, as well as this afternoon we might have a little drink on Microsoft. Thank you. Just don't throw it on any Microsoft products. They might not appreciate that. And we did ask for donations from the entrepreneurs in the office, and some people really stepped up and gave us large donations. So just wanted to say thank you. We really appreciate it. This helps us keep our expenses down so we can help more entrepreneurs. The agenda today, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm about to introduce, actually I'll introduce the Q&A panel. It's a little bit different format today. And the companies will get started. First off, we'll have Device Magic. They are straight here from South Africa. They've actually been a really fun team to work with, some of the hardest working guys I've ever met. I can't really say that because, honestly, every team we've had has been, they work so hard all the time. They could probably tell you how many days they've gone without a rhino incident. Is that right? How many is it? What is it? Dushan doesn't want to say. 28 days. Okay. And then after that, we've got Newton Insight. I've gotten to know Gerard over the years. He had his first startup that he sold with his partner a few years ago. And this is their next shot. They're going for the big one this time. We'll take a break. We'll bring back Brad Hunstable, the CEO of Ustream, one of the founders. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about having a startup while living in Fort Worth and commuting back to San Francisco. Kind of an interesting story. And then we'll bring up Mindful, our team that comes straight to us from Chicago. And finally, we'll finish off with our last team, PayTap. That's been one of the most interesting stories. I'm not sure that I've met a more persistent, tenacious entrepreneur than Sean Michael. You'll get to know him. He's great. And then, of course, we finish off with Happy Hour, best part of the day. So, again, the Q&A panel that we have, each of the three gentlemen on this list are going to be asking questions of the teams. Just one question each. No follow-ups. It's pretty quick. You guys got it? So we have Mike Dodd from Austin Ventures. You stand up, say hi. There we go, right here. Ned Hill from DFJ Mercury. And Austin Ventures and DFJ Mercury are very interesting because both funds have funded a Tech Wildcatters team before. And then finally, Paul Ford from SoftLayer. He's done this a few times. So he's actually works with a lot of seed accelerators really around the world. So he knows the process and how things go. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, first up. All right. Where are you guys? Yeah, Joel Fano. Where did you go? Okay, he's actually supposed to be up here introducing our first team. So there he is. Joel, what's up? Where'd you go? Okay, we've got a mic for you right here.
Sometimes details are left out. So 2 South Africans who I encouraged to come here to Texas because the environment is good for startups. So it takes Texas-like anatomy parts to leave South Africa and come to Texas, especially when you don't have the authority to be in country. So you're visiting. We've had a lot of great discussions with the team. Most importantly is, why is American football called football when your foot doesn't touch the ball very often? And so I will give that one to Dusan because it's true. So what we look for at Trailblazer Capital is companies that meet 4 criteria for investing when they do something with the internet. And that is to become, in some way, shape, or form, nodes or multiple nodes on the big I internet, to gather information, to apply logic, and most importantly, to be able to impact policy or enforce change, or in some way, shape, or form, take that nodal network piece and make something happen. So when you hear them talk about forms and mobility, I want you to think about really what's happening underneath the covers, because there's something to pay attention to here with this team, is they've done a very great job of seamlessly building a platform that allows corporations to take in data, push that data automatically to logic devices, and then be able to independently take action upon that, whether it's to send people in a certain direction or gather more information or make decisions. And that's really very intriguing. So intriguing, it's really tough to let go. And this is a team we like a lot. There's enough. The guys have been together. This is their second time at bat after a tough first time, and that's even more important to us. So without any further ado, I believe Mike's going to speak to us.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm Mike Wellen, co-founder of Device Magic. What Device Magic does is it replaces paper-based forms with electronic versions on smartphones and tablets. Anytime a business has a team of people in the field collecting data, I want you to think of clipboards and pens. We take those paper-based forms and we put them on the smartphones and tablets. We founded Device Magic about 2 years ago in Johannesburg. And to give you a feel for our product, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a couple of industry verticals and just show you very briefly how our customers use the product. Our first is in retail and FMCG. One of our earliest customers was ABI. ABI is the Coca-Cola bottler and distributor for South Africa. They have about 350 people in the field, both sales reps and merchandisers, who use our forms, one, to collect orders. So at every store across the country, they're collecting the orders, as well as to check on the merchandising promotions. They're making sure that the Coca-Cola fridges are correctly stocked and the Sprite is correctly on promotion. And all of that is done on Blackberries using the Device Magic product. In the financial sector, Nedbank, which is one of South Africa's big 4 banks, is using our product to open new bank accounts in rural areas. Traditionally, the process of opening a bank account involves filling out a paper form. They're no longer doing that on paper. They're doing it on the electronic devices. This gives them 2 primary advantages. The first, the process of opening that account can begin the moment the form is completed on the device. That data is being routed already back to the office, as opposed to paper, which has to be manually data captured at some point later, and only days later can the process kick off. The second major advantage for Nedbank is the fact that they can do validation of that data when the customer is in front of them. So they can apply all sorts of rules to that form to make sure that the data they're collecting is correct, whereas with paper, you only discover those errors much later on. In resources and engineering, Endeavour Energy is an Australian energy provider. They provide energy for the greater New South Wales areas. All of their site auditors and inspectors are using our product for auditing and inspecting the components of their distribution network. The value for them is that now they can collect rich data, things like photos of faults and GPS location and a whole bunch of extra, of rich data that you can't do easily on a paper-based form. In transport, logistics, XL Freight is a Houston-based trucking company. They've given all their truck drivers iPads, and instead of managing all their manifests and the onload and offloading documentation on paper, they do it on the device. This gives them near real-time understanding of what is happening to their team in the field. And finally, in medical and tech, Medtronic has about 75 sales reps in the field. They're using our product for competitive analysis. They interview doctors and surgeons post-operations to understand why they perhaps use the competitor's vascular balloon or similar. For them, the value is the fact that they can change forms dynamically and the devices just figure it out. They don't have to reprint paper and shunt it all the way around the country. They can make sure that the data they're collecting is exactly what they want very easily. So that's how the product's being used. I'm going to just give you a quick introduction of how it actually works. We're a software as a service business. You can come to our website. You can sign up free. You can start building your own forms. It takes minutes to build the forms in our graphic designer. It's really easy. When you sign up, we also provide you with a bunch of sample forms for your industry. And if you have existing paper-based forms, we will help you convert them to the electronic form. Once you've created your forms, the next thing you do is get it on your devices. We're on all the app stores. So if you've got an iPhone or an iPad, you can get it from the Apple Store. We're on the BlackBerry Store. We're on the various Android stores, the Amazon Store. So whatever device you have, you can download our rich app. And as soon as your team members have downloaded, they can get the forms on their device and start collecting data. Once they've collected the data, the next component of our product is what happens to that data. We consider ourselves a piece of infrastructure. So you provide the forms, and that produces a bunch of structured data that reaches our server from the devices. We will send that data wherever you need it to go. If you're a small 5-man cake delivery company, perhaps you'll need that data sent to an email. If you're on Google Apps, we can put it in a Google spreadsheet for you. If you're a Salesforce user, we can take that collected data and put it into your Salesforce account. And if you're a much bigger company or you're a developer-focused company who has an internal team or a system integrator, we can provide you that data as XML to a REST endpoint where your team can then integrate it or use the data as you wish. That's the essence of the product and how it works. To talk about traction. In 2011, we will do about $140,000 in revenue. We have 40 paying customers who send over 2,000 forms through our server every day. And in terms of general interest, we get about slightly over 50 downloads of our application from the various stores every day. The team is myself and Dushan, the two co-founders, and we have a full-time developer employee in South Africa. This is myself and Dushan's second startup. The first one was also in mobile. We started that in about 2004. We raised funds from a South African VC, and at our height, we were about 12 employees. We crashed and burned that one in about 2008, but we learned all the hard lessons. We've raised $45,000 so far for the company. That was a $20,000 investment from a South African angel from the Tech Wildcatters. We have competitors. It's a competitive space. One of the questions we often get about the business is this a lifestyle business or can it be bigger? Just to talk to that, Pronto Forms is listed on the Canadian Small Cap Exchange, and Canvas has just closed earlier this year closed a $1.3 million Series B round from Motorola Solutions, the venture arm of Motorola Solutions. How are we different from our competitors? We position ourselves as a piece of infrastructure. We are a component that you bolt into your existing workflow system or document management system to collect data from the team in the field. It's customizable. We've got a full API. You can control all aspects of the product from end to end. And when you start thinking about what we actually can see with the devices, not only do we know what your team is working on and what they have been working on and what they're doing in the future, we know where they are, and we can start asking questions like, who is near this customer? Is this worker working at capacity? Do we have an under capacity or an over capacity? So what we're actually building towards is a platform for managing your mobile team. Something along the lines of mobility as a service would be one way of describing it. And that's where we're moving forward to, well, that's where we're going. So alongside our existing customer revenue, we'd like to raise an additional $500,000 for two things. We're most of the way through relocating here to the US from Johannesburg. We need to complete that. We need to get our US office set up, and we need to start putting employees on the ground here. And the second one is for growth. Our product works. The customers love it. It's now time to spend lots of money on sales and marketing and get a lot more people into our funnel and converting them at the bottom. Thank you for listening to me. I think we'll go to the panel now.
Great. First of all, congratulations on the product and on the team. You guys did a great job. My question is really about revolving around use of funds. During your presentation, I mean, you've sort of cut into some pretty big verticals. On the funds you're trying to raise, where are you going to start? What sort of, as far as the use of funds, which verticals are you going to try to attack first?
So because we are infrastructure, we are actually deliberately position ourselves as horizontal. And because it's a web product, most of those customers have come to us from our website or from the app stores. So the intention for the funds is to feed that funnel, to feed our web funnel, to get as many people as we can through traditional SEO as well as improvements on the app store. The primary use is to get as many people into that funnel. We have deliberately chosen not to pick verticals because we've had significant success in so many of them.
Yeah, this feels like a plug-in to a lot of these adjacent categories, document management, so forth. That can be a great distribution strategy for you guys. Have you guys thought about that, and how are you going to kind of execute distribution, particularly channel?
So there's two sides to that. One, we make sure that our API is rich and well documented so that organically anyone who wishes to use it as a component of our solution can. The second side of that is we try and work as closely as we can with system integrators, the kinds of guys who might take the data that we've produced and put it into SAP, for example, which is what ABI does. So anybody who's actually rolling out to, say, the Fortune 500, they will generally have a team internally or as an integrator who is solving that problem, and we make sure that we talk to them and give them what they need to use our product should they need to.
So my question maybe is somewhat similar, perhaps a little shorter term. So that's the channel side. It sounds like you're a direct seller right now. Who within the companies end up being your primary customer? Give us some insight into what that sales process looks like and the sales cycle.
So to date, we've had a lot of success where an internal team within a company, for example, the Medtronic case, it wasn't a top-down buying decision. It wasn't even an IT buying decision. The manager who was working with that competitive analysis was having trouble getting data from his team in the field in a timely manner. They discover us either on the web, searching for mobile forms or industry-specific terms, or via the app stores. And then internally, organically, because they can set it up in 20 minutes and have that data going into a Google spreadsheet, it just entrenches itself organically and then slowly spreads within the company. So we've had quite a lot of success with that. The other side we've had some success with is where we've partnered with an integrator who has then taken us and molded us inside of their solution.
And sales cycle?
For the web sales cycle, we have a 14-day trial, after which we convert. So it's a very short sales cycle for web. The integrators take longer. That can be 6 months.
Cool. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Let's give him a big hand.
My name is David Gabriel, and if you know Gabs, you know she's not very patient with, and so thank you, Joel. I was very comfortable in my stadium seat and immediately got jerked out by Gabs so that I was standing there for 10 minutes so I'd be ready to come up and give the next introduction. And that is to Newton Insights. That's not Newton Insights. I've had the privilege of working with them pretty regularly over the last 12 weeks, and they are impressive. I'm not going to speak. Many of you are professional investors. I'm applicational at best. But when I look at investments, there are three things that I look for, and I look at the people, I look at the market, and I look at the product. And in this case, we've got people who I enjoy working with people, and I've enjoyed over the years working with people who are smarter than me. This is definitely the case. These guys are extremely bright. And they've put that to good use in this product because they've chosen to tackle a very complex market. They know this market very well, which is fortunate. It's an addressable market that is very large. This is something that is big. It's messy. It's fragmented today. And the nice thing is that the players that dominate the upper end of this market do not really have the structure, the wherewithal to really address the market that Newton is looking to address. So from a market standpoint, they've got the size, they have the demonstrated need, and they've got space to work. In terms of the product, my sense is that they've done a very good job. Smart people don't always show the ability to take complexity and turn it into simple solutions. This team has. This is a product that takes a very complex milieu, and they've been able to narrow it down, give the customer a product that is easy to use, a solution that's easy to use. And I think the best way to kind of summarize that is they had a recent large beta customer meeting. In fact, it was very recent. I think it was just last Friday. And the guy was skeptical, but they went ahead, they kind of pushed through, got the meeting, gave the demo. The summary that the guy gave afterwards was extremely interested, want to have a follow-up meeting for these reasons. Number one, it absolutely addresses a need that we have, and it's a pain point that we're feeling significant pain and need to address it. The second is this is a solution that fits within our use scenarios, both from a cost standpoint as well as a usability. I can see it operating within the sphere that we need it to operate. And the third is I think it's overdue. So without further ado, I want to introduce Gerard and Newton Insights.
I would like to start off with a story that is true, that is personal, that I understand very well. There was a patient by the name of William who had to get a bone marrow biopsy done on him. There's two ways of doing that. It's either through a needle or through an operation. He had to get the operation. Well, the lab company that's contracted to do these tests sent out a courier company that retrieved the specimen. About a week later, the doctor calls the lab company saying, "Hey, where's my Williams specimen? Where are the results?" And they say, "We'll find out. We'll get right back to you." The lab company immediately calls the courier company and is asking, "Hey, did you guys pick up Williams? So where did you deliver it? Who signed for it?" So they looked into it and said, "Yeah, we absolutely did pick it up, and we delivered it, but there was nobody there to sign for it. So we left it in the designated place." Well, that's the first problem. I left it in a designated place. The second problem is that the lab company records everything that comes in from multiple couriers on a paper log sheet. So it's very difficult for them to reconcile everything that's been coming in with their paper logs. So after searching through their paper logs in their lab, they could not find the specimen. So they had to do the unthinkable. They had to call the doctor and tell the doctor, "Sir, we're very sorry, but we lost the specimen." And then the doctor had to do something even worse. He had to call William and tell William, "I'm very sorry, but we lost the specimen, and we're going to have to operate again." Can you imagine that? If that happened to your grandfather, your wife, or your child? And yeah, there is a lawsuit going on, and yes, the lab company did lose the client. Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. We are Newton Insight. We're a software-as-a-service company. There's a world out there where UPS, FedEx, and other mid to long-range delivery services provide adequate to excellent value. But there's another world out there, an entirely different world, where these services just don't function. And that world is in the world of time-sensitive and immediate deliveries. This world is dominated by thousands and thousands of delivery services that are disconnected, thousands of systems that are fragmented. And today, there's no means of actually coordinating, tracking, and actually following through the delivery of a product such as a specimen. In addition, there's no tracking mechanisms in there. There's no performance metrics to hold the couriers accountable. And there are no analytics that help the companies make better decisions. We've solved that problem. And the first question you might ask is, can a company such as Newton Insight develop such a solution? Absolutely. And we already have. Let me tell you about John Zarowski and myself. I've known John for over 20 years. We met at UPS. And since then, we started a company called Bill Wave Technologies in 2008, sold it in 2009. And because of our history of knowing each other, we know each other's strengths, we know each other's weaknesses, and we work very well together. John has 10 patents to his name. He has over 20 years of professional development experience, and he's worked for a hedge fund for over 5 years. Myself, I got a PhD in logistics systems engineering, 25 years of logistics supply chain management experience, 13 from UPS, and 5 from a courier logistics company in a VP level. And let me tell you about the ecosystem of the couriers. They're completely fragmented. There are no systems out there that could work in concert with various companies to even give you a hint of the tracking capability and visibility that a UPS or FedEx can. So let me give you an example of how this whole process works for our target market, which is the labs. The first thing that happens is the doctor picks up the phone and calls the lab company to pick up a specimen. The lab company then turns around and keys into a different system the specimen that's coming in, picks up the phone, and calls one of the 3 courier companies, A, B, or C. When that courier company receives the call, they go out, make the pickup, go out to the delivery location, have the logistics manager in the lab sign for it, and then the lab from the logistics goes over to the lab technician for testing. Everything here works all right. Everything is fine as long as there's no breakdown. But the moment that there is a breakdown, that's when the logistics manager starts wondering, well, was it courier A, B, or C that did the pickup? What system do I have to log into? Now I have to coordinate with the courier company, call them, and find out what's going on. And with all that mess is done with the phone calls and emails, now they continue on the lab side because the specimen that's coming in late has to be taken from the back of the line, moved to the front of the line. So now I'm having to coordinate with the lab manager, talking with them to find out, okay, when it gets here, what are we going to do? And when then all that's said and done, there's still some more moving parts where the lab technician calls the customer service of the lab, and then they call the doctor and tell them the specimen has been tested. Too many failure points. Too many failure points. So Newton Insight is the solution. And what we do is we have a system that's agile. We could blend into any business. We could bring disparate systems together. And we're able to automate the processes for thousands of businesses. We use the best of breeds, commercial off-the-shelf products. We're easy to use, inexpensive to install. And we address critical markets, critical items such as the customer service, risk management, audible compliance records, and efficiencies. So everybody with our system sees the same thing. You got total visibility. How easy is this to use? This is what a doctor would use. They would enter the information here, 4 simple steps. Once they enter that information, it goes to the lab company. This is what the lab company would see. Notice that highlighting yellow and red. Yellow means that the product is close to being late. Red is that it's late. You also notice that you have all the couriers visible on one screen. What the lab company does then is they're able to log on and use the system that we provided for them so they can make a better decision of who they want to send the specimen with. Here you notice couriers A, B, and C, their performance scores, which we calculate for the lab companies, and the cost to send that product across. So that's the thing that we provide for these lab companies. We also have an activity screen that shows things such as what's out due, what's late, and what's on its way over to the lab company. We also provide the alerting systems that we talked about. You could do any kind of alert from being picked up to being late to a system to a specimen that's almost late. We have that capability and functionality. So let's go back and let's try to get the job done right the first time. Remember William, the guy that we lost a specimen? Our system would have prevented that, one, by sending out an alert that there is something critical being picked up. Please be very cautious with it. And the second way is that once the courier delivered the product, there would have been another alert to the lab technician, hey, wait a minute, William is over here, no one's touched me, come and find me, pick me up, and get me processed. We would have prevented that operation from occurring again. We would have prevented that lawsuit. Our market is very, very large. There's over 11,900 couriers out there. It does not include UPS, FedEx, DHL, or Post Office. It's over a $14 billion market. But we're very, very specific in our vertical, which is the lab companies, hospitals. And what we're looking at is we're targeting the lab companies currently. And those are the lab companies that we're targeting. Now, who was our competitors? AirClick and Medical Courier Elite. But the biggest differentiators between them and us is 2 things. One, we have predictive alerting systems to let you know when something's going to be late. And we also have a dynamic performance metric that tells you how well the courier companies are doing. Kind of like the stock market ticker goes up and down, we do the same thing. And there are various other items in there that we compete with them where they don't compete with us. Our pricing model is very simple. We charge the lab companies a monthly fee based on their size. We also charge them a transactional base if they exceed that size, kind of like your cell phone minutes. We charge the courier companies if they want to integrate with our system, and we charge the courier companies if they want to use our analytics. So that's pretty much our pricing model. It's a very wide field out there. There's many other verticals that we're going to attract. We're going to go after things from the parts and services to engineering and law firms. So what we're doing and what we're asking is $1.5 million to help us grow our company. And with that $1.5 million, we're going to convert our beta customers into real customers. We're going to have a very deep pipeline of customers. And we're going to also have customers that are in different verticals outside of the medical logistics arena. So when it comes to trust Newton Insight to help you reduce your liabilities, improve your efficiencies, and make better decisions. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Tech Wildcatters. What questions can I answer now?
Yeah, nice job. I appreciate that. Talk to me a little bit about the implementation side. You mentioned that it's easy. It seems like there are various stakeholders involved in the process.
Sure.
How do you get the cooperation across those groups?
Well, the companies that we're after are going to be labs and hospitals and blood banks, and they're the ones who actually dictate to the courier companies how things should be done. And a couple of lab companies that we've spoken with, a few actually, two of them stated, and this is paraphrased, that we are going to require our courier companies to use this system. So that's how we're thinking of getting in there, and we've already got a beta courier company that's a paying customer, so we've already got that in place, and that's pretty much the sales cycle there.
Yeah, again, great job. How big could a market like Dallas be for you guys on a net revenue basis?
Sure, Dallas alone, and I could just speak of the labs, blood banks, and hospitals, about $6+ million, and that's just in that one vertical.
And how do you get there? Just what's the math that gets you there? I mean, is it
courier companies here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? I know how much the lab companies are paying out, and we estimate based on the amount of usage that they'll have, that they'll be willing to pay for this type of statistical data for them to make better decisions. So it's a bottom-up analysis specifically on the labs, hospitals, and blood banks.
Again, great job, Gerard. My question really revolves around the system that you're creating. Seems like over time you're going to aggregate quite a bit of data regarding the different stakeholders within your ecosystem. Do you plan to turn that data outward-facing for new customer acquisition to provide recommendations on performance of the different stakeholders within your ecosystem?
We have not gone that far into it. At this point, no. That's a step a little bit further down that we didn't think about, but certainly something that we could consider.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, before we go to break, I have a special surprise for everyone. We have one of our alumni teams from the very first year, last summer. I know it was a long time ago. With us, we have Jeff Borden from Brand Protection Agency. I'll actually let him tell you more about what the company does and where they are, but we're very proud of the fact that they've been able to bootstrap their way to a certain level of success. They are profitable now. They actually lease from us in the Tech Church, so we get to see them on Monkey every day. Monkey is the team mascot. He's a sweet little golden retriever. So, Jeff, I'm going to let you take it away.
This is yours, actually. Hi. So, yeah, we are the Tech Church, and I apologize in advance if our Chief Marketing Officer, Monkey, has attacked any of you. He kind of doesn't understand boundaries too well, so we're trying to teach him those things. CEO of the Brand Protection Agency, my name is Jeff Borden. We do online market intelligence and visibility for brands. What am I pushing here, Stuart? There we go. Yeah, so we do online market intelligence and visibility for brands. We have big brands come ask us, can you analyze the market and tell us who's selling our products? What are they selling our products for? How's our product penetration doing in the marketplace? As well as who's using our intellectual property? How is our IP being used? And we do so in the context of brand protection. We give them the tools to enforce their policies, so their pricing policies or their intellectual property use policies. And we do so for some great brands. We've got Black & Decker, which we've had since day one. We've got Beretta. We've got Kiko, Samsung, some really, really fantastic brands out there who we're working with. So our market size for manufacturers in the U.S., we dabble in the Eurozone a little bit, but primarily it's going to be domestic, is about $4 trillion in revenue. And we've got about 300,000 companies manufacturing here in the U.S., and we're going to get into retail a little bit more, but they're about $4 trillion in revenue as well, and 1.1 million companies who do that. So as we provide this intelligence and this visibility into the online market for these manufacturers, we saw something that's kind of interesting. We were we're looking at everything, and it was crazy how fragmented and mismanaged and confused they were about the online market. And they started saying to us, hey, can you help us communicate? Can you tell us who these people are? Can you give us ability to kind of control and understand our channel better? And then we decided that there's an opportunity there. The isolation and the fragmentation of the online relationship between the manufacturers and retailers really need to be consolidated and sort of commoditized in a way. So we're really, really excited to announce that Q1 of next year, we're going to be launching what we call internally a commercial network. So think of a commercial network in the context of a social network, but without all the baby pictures, and with a real serious commercial utility behind it. So we're really excited to be launching that early next year. So our history, we came into the program with 2 clients and about $6,000 a month in recurring revenue. And we are currently, over the last year, a little about a year and a half since we left the program, we're at 42 recurring revenue monthly, and we have about 32 clients. And we've grown 672% since we left the program, and we've got a great pipeline going right now. We've got our first marquee retailer coming on board in Home Depot, and Whirlpool was going to be on our client list, but their procurement department is very, very slow, unfortunately. And Samsung, currently a client, but we got the opportunity to expand across all their business units, and we're really excited about them. And the KitchenAid brand is going to be part of the contract as well. So everybody's kind of queued up for beginning of year budget, so we're probably going to grow about 50% within just the next month. So we're really, really excited about all of that. Again, I'm the CEO. I focus on the code and the product. I've got experience as an entrepreneur and product development, and Vicki Morris is our sales and operations guru. And she's got experience in consulting and project management. We've got a team of about 5 full-time employees and a handful of part-timers helping us out. And we've got great support by the ecosystem and the 40 great, amazing mentors that we've met through the program. And, of course, Monkey. So we're looking to raise $500,000 in seed round. We didn't raise money. We wanted to bootstrap. And we see this market opportunity to really kind of take ownership of the relationship between manufacturers and retailers. And so we want to get there first and really put the pedal to the metal. So we're going to do a seed round with our eyes on doing a larger round probably at some point within the next year. And just to grow our team. So thank you so much. We appreciate the time. If you don't get a chance to talk, please email me. We'd love to talk to you. And we have a 15-minute break coming up right now. So thanks, guys.
That was today's bonus.
Yeah, if everybody could get back in just the next 20 minutes. Got a quick break. So grab some popcorn, go to the bathroom, do your thing. See you back in about 12 minutes.
Ellos son estos. Angel 2. Nomás le tenés se los metes por adentro, ¿tú verdad? Se los metes por adentro de la de esta. Sin albur. Se le iba a quitar y dije, cabrón, ¿quieres que te encuere aquí, vato? Why is it the old one? Okay. No hablaron. Nomás me hubiera pasado just in case. That's cool. Well, basically what's supposedly is going on.
Introducing Brad. I was going to talk about all this other stuff.
they never tested the audio, so I want to go ahead and do a run through. Right? Put the music first.
Huh? The music first.
How about
Yeah.
play?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna skip my slide.
Yeah, I went because he said that you streaming. Yeah.
Okay, I've got to go to the bathroom before then, or else I'm going to embarrass myself.
Pretty much. I mean, there's not much else to do. It's right here. It's just left and right. So right towards it. It's pretty simple. He's holding it upside down. Jeff was. So this might will probably be mic'd up with the I think that's probably the easiest. I'm trying. It's not. I'm on a really crappy connection. Yeah, we were having at the beginning our audio wasn't working, but it should apparently we fixed it. Did you get a press release out or those media outreach messages? I'm trying to do right now. We got some. We did get several out beforehand, but I'm trying to do the watch us now. this is definitely mainly investment. There's a good amount of entrepreneurs here as well, so some technical a little bit. You can get into that a little, but yeah, definitely mainly investment. This is the room for if they're Dallas investor internet, they're here, but there's not a lot of those. So a lot of them will dabble around, like it's part of their profile, but they're not strictly internet. Obviously all the people who invest in our company consider it internet. But yeah, the vast majority. So part of it. Right. I mean, it's typically oil, gas, real estate, and telecom town. It's just how Dallas has been. But I mean, Dallas actually gets half the. I forgot you said this, or CTO. Half the revenue in the state of Texas technology comes from Dallas. It's just, I mean, so obviously there's stuff here. It's big ones. They're not startup focused, and they're not seeing opportunity. Yeah, sure. No, I mean, you're welcome to sit there. It's pretty close. I don't know how close you are. Yeah, I mean,
Check, check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. ¿Por qué no se oye? ¿Por qué no se oye el por? Check, check. check, check, check. Everything's right. Get that. Check, check. Check, check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Check, 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 check. They lower the master. Yeah, he lowered the master. What is it? Check, 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 check. Yeah, he needs to give me one. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check, mic check. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. check, check. Mic check. Check, 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 check.
Everybody else is already drinking. Yeah. People have already, I've already seen several shiners.
Check, check.
Yeah, we're having a little audio issue. Did they find the audio guy? Apparently he disappeared and he turned all the audio down up there, which means the mic's not working right now. So we might let's check with him and see. Yeah, he was trying to find him. How's it going?
There we go. We're trying to figure it out here.
Okay.
I'll keep it there.
There's somebody standing up in the booth. Yeah, we just called. Okay.
Check, check, check. Check, 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 check. Test.
That worked.
Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2.
Music?
Still low?
Yeah, it's still low. Check, check, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. That's good. Test, test, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Test, test, test.
How are you?
Yeah. Break all the microphones. I need all the microphones. Test, test, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Test.
Testing, testing. Test, test, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen,
Testing, 1, 2. Check, check.
Test, test. Mic test 1, 1, 2. Mic test.
Check, 1, 2. Test, test. 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Test, test. 1, 2. Check.
Tienen mucho.
Aquí se lo damos a estos chavos. Muy ready. Los lados. A ver si jalas. I think it's good. These are full.
This one's still good.
Esto de me. Low battery?
No, that's the other milk. When it's in yellow phase, if you press it through, it's going to be muted.
Este está on. ¿Lo prende de una vez?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay, they're both on.
¿Quién va a agarrar?
Si son poste, están oyendo la gente que está ustream, lo que estamos diciendo.
¿Quién va a agarrar el one handheld?
Maybe, vamos a ver, vente. Okay, who's up first?
Mike, Brad up right here.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm taking the handheld.
Take the handheld.
Where is Michael Martin?
Brad, it was good to meet you. No, you can leave it on. You can leave it on. I just put it in. Over there. Half an hour. Okay. Yeah, you got it built? When it's already on, we'll control it.
All right. Do I need that little clicker?
So es
¿Quién le vamos a poner este?
no sabemos todavía hasta que
It will automatically transition into mine.
He's going to make sure it's on. I wonder if maybe we should just put yours up.
You can put it up. You can put that up because I can make fun of it. Do a lot of. I can make fun of it. I'm self-deprecating. I'm really by necessity.
¿Cuál es la del first?
True. True.
Van los unos.
So, I guess when I hand it
Yeah,
off,
un laugh y un handheld. Los ones. ¿Eh? No, ella, la muchacha tiene el handheld, el uno. Y luego el señor del saco de allá de la esquina tiene el laugh, el uno. Y ya, if I give this one out, I'll let you know. Este va.
Where can I see the slides from here?
yeah. Is that enough for you?
My eyes are shoddy, but that'll be enough. I need to get. There's no words really on my slides anyway, so I got on my head.
Good deal.
I just need to know what I'm on because they each have a visual cue to.
Yeah. I know she kind of. Thank you, sir.
Trae tu compañía aquí casi, diles. Quiero que me den 2 millones.
$1 millón nomás, está bien. get more clients, more events. Ayúdennos, yo les ayudo.
Un día. Pero los que invierten dinero, agarran dinero por
They have to, yeah. Es como si alguien dice, ¿sabes qué? Dame $100 y yo que hagas 2 conmigo. So you expect something. Pero es like anything. Un investment no es garantizado. So they're taking a chance.
Has anybody congratulated her or you guys?
La persona que les ayudó.
I think I might do that at the beginning just to help some. Absolutely.
Si nadie le quiere ayudar, ahora la gente quiere entrar, pero ya es too late.
No, pero es un chingo de... Yo apuesto que todavía tiene efecto.
Oh, yeah.
¿Y eso es cómo hacen dinero? Nomás
Publicidad.
Por la...
No sé si te fijas,
Todos
sale
los
publicidad,
advertisements.
ándale. Pues entran millones de gente todos los días, pero...
Ready?
Ready?
What do you think? Okay, welcome back, everybody. Take your seats, please. We are now halfway to happy hour. Halfway through the presentations. Okay, everybody comfortable? All right. Well, hello again to our Ustream viewers. Sorry for that little break, but, we needed to take care of business. I've been getting messages on my handy little device. Are you guys in love with these things? Can you believe it's only been a few years since these have existed? Wow. Pretty amazing what innovation can do, right? So I've heard from Argentina. They said the sound wasn't working initially, but it got up and working within just a couple of minutes. So great job, Kyle from Livid Lobster Studios. I've also heard that the South African investor was watching and really enjoyed the presentation. So now it is my distinct pleasure in just a second to introduce our keynote speaker. Before I do that, I want to say or make one more announcement. Applications for the spring Tech Wildcatters program are open, so pay attention, you guys at home. If you are a B2B startup looking for a little bit of capital, a whole lot of connections, and a whole lot of help to get your startup launched, come on over here and apply to be part of the next Tech Wildcatters class. Just go to techwildcatters.com, and you'll find out everything from there. There's a little application button that you can hit, and you're well on your way. So with us today is Brad Hunstable, the CEO and co-founder of Ustream. Are you guys familiar with Ustream? Have you heard of it? That's right. It's one of the largest live streaming services on the web today, consumer-based. Very cool stuff. He is also, many people don't know, that he's a Texan. Wow, give it up for Texas, right? Come on, guys. Yeah, a little love. And then he is also, obviously, an entrepreneur and a West Point military man. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you Brad Hunstable.
All right, thank you. Can everyone hear me? I think this is working. Everyone hear me okay? Is that a yes? All right. Well, first off, thank you for having me, as Gabriella said. And by the way, that photo, I haven't decided if I'm happy about her using that or not. That was about 10 years ago. But I am Brad Hunstable. I'm one of the founders and the CEO of Ustream, the largest live streaming platform in the world. And as she said, I'm also a native Texan, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. And I thought today, as I started preparing what I would speak about, I want to tell you a little bit about the story of Ustream, of why we made the decision to start the company, why we made the decision to start the company not made in Texas, but made in California, unfortunately. And give you some of my own thoughts as I've had the opportunity to speak with various people from this community over the last few months in how we can collectively make the Dallas-Fort Worth region as vibrant as Silicon Valley, or if not as vibrant as Silicon Valley, certainly more vibrant than Austin, I think we can say. And so I am from Texas. Texas is in my soul. Texas is in my blood. I have never owned, until recently, a pair of cowboy boots, so this image might be a little bit misleading, but it is who I am. I grew up here. I started off as a young child growing up in Granbury, Texas, which is south of Fort Worth, and I've always been a technology enthusiast. I've always enjoyed playing with computers. My first computer was a TRS-80. Remember back in the day. And then I went to a VIC-20. And I've always been a hacker. And as a young boy, I ran a fairly large bulletin board service out of Granbury, Texas, called the Dark Realms. I think I was 11 or 12 years old. And so I've always considered myself a hacker. Maybe clearly early in those days, I had some entrepreneurial excitement about me. I grew up and graduated from Granbury High School, and ultimately went to West Point, the United States Military Academy. And at West Point, you have to serve 4 years at the academy, and then you do 5 years in the military afterwards as an officer in the military. And I did that. I served in various capacities, around the world. And ultimately, after 10 years, I wanted to get back to Texas. That's where I love. That's where I'm from. That's where my particular family's from. Texans, in my experience of the world, we are certainly unique personalities. It's definitely the greatest country in the world. But I wanted to get back. And I came back and started doing real estate development, entrepreneurial industry, in my opinion, for the Perot family, a company called Hillwood, with the Ross Perot family. And I absolutely enjoyed it. It was great. I think I did it for 3 or 4 years. I got the experience and the opportunity to build a lot of the neighborhoods and shape this region for the future. And that was fantastic. But I didn't feel completely fulfilled, to use Steve Jobs. I didn't know if I was really making my dent in the universe. And with my technology background, especially as I grew up as a kid and through high school, I knew I wanted to get back somehow into the internet landscape. And so with a co-founder of mine, another buddy of mine from West Point, a guy named John Hamm, and our third co-founder, Gila Farrow, we started Ustream. And the original idea came from our experiences in the military, where we wanted to connect soldiers and sailors who were deployed overseas and give them the ability to call their loved ones back home through video. That's essentially how it started in many respects. Now, for me personally, I had another Texas connection to the Ustream. First initial Ustream experience was that my brother was in a rock band here locally. And he played at a place called the Curtain Club. You guys have probably heard of it. Various other places around Dallas, Fort Worth. And my brother was the bassist of this band. We were very happy. My younger brother, he was taking this very seriously. So we supported him, even though I wouldn't say that was the crowd I was used to hanging out with. But nonetheless, I was there to support him. And I remember going to these rock concerts and feeling the energy and going, wow, you guys are really good. And if you rewind back to 2006, MySpace was obviously the king at that point. His little band had acquired millions of fans across the world. Now, in today's world, we may somewhat take that for granted, but back then I was amazed that his stupid little band had millions of kids in Australia and Germany and Canada were in love with their band, and it blew my mind. And when I thought about that, and I thought about the experience I had at these rock concerts, the energy of the crowd, hearing the noise and the smells and just how I felt watching his band live, I wanted a way for those fans around the world to be able to see it. And so we originally built it to stream my brother's band on his MySpace page. And I can remember in the early days sneaking into the Curtain Club when we were testing some of the technology. I would put a laptop in a backpack, an air card, and I would carry a camera, kind of like what we have set up over here. And I would sneak in line into the Curtain Club, bands I didn't know, and I would stand in the middle of the mosh pit. And I would call my developers and ask them, how's it look? How's it sound? And we're trying to figure out, how to do this thing called live broadcasting. And, we knew we had a prototype. We had to decide where to ultimately build out the company. And, we looked, the most obvious choice for us was to look in California. Unfortunately. Maybe we were naive. Maybe this is what we knew. But we started thinking about, where do we want to put this company? And clearly, Silicon Valley had a lot of attractiveness. I mean, it's where the silicon chip started getting its name, and that's why they named it Silicon Valley. Were big companies like Yahoo and Google and YouTube. In the early days, we used to put the YouTube founder's photo up on our wall as inspiration. direction. And clearly there's a lot of benefits in terms of the partners that are there, the ecosystem, the investment ecosystem, the community, and the talent. And that's a decision we made. But the big reason, let's be perfectly honest, of why we went out there was for this reason, for fundraising. And again, maybe it was because I was naive about this local area. I don't know. Maybe it's because they had a lot, more exposure in the marketplace about that's where we can raise venture capital money. So in 2006, John Hamm and I literally showed up and got meetings with all the top venture capital firms, Sequoia, Kleiner Perkins, Greylock, Benchmark. We met with all of them. And we pitched them with our little dinky prototype and our PowerPoint presentation. And I don't even know if I knew what a venture capital was 6 months before that. And so we pitched them, somewhat naively, somewhat trying to learn the ropes. And the realities were we didn't get funded. Now, everyone liked the idea. Everyone thought, you guys, you're from the Army. You're not really from here, but, you seem like you have some talent. But you know what? Probably not what we want to do. And luckily, the entrepreneurial spirit in myself and my business partners, we didn't stop. We didn't get discouraged. We went, okay, well, we're going to go try to raise angel funds. Now, today, obviously, most people do it a little bit the other direction. But we went out and raised a couple $1 million in angel round in a very short amount of time. The ecosystem, the investment ecosystem in Silicon Valley, at least from my experience of having been there almost 5 years now, is one where investments seem to be, I wouldn't say frictionless, but more fluid in terms of their appetite for risk. And I'm going to talk about that in a little while, of how you might want to think about investments from a risk standpoint. And so we raised an angel round. I can remember going to angels and getting a $50,000, $100,000 check. And they would hand me the check after meeting me the first time and say, all right, send me the paperwork in a week. My sense is that might be a little bit different climate than what we have here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And by the way, that's not an uncommon practice from other people I've met. And we ultimately went on and we did get a Series A. We raised an $11 million round and raised a Series B, and we've done some subsequent rounds since then. Consumer platforms like what we've created tend to take a lot of initial investment to ultimately reach somewhere where they're profitable and throwing off cash later on in their lifetime. Facebook's the greatest example. But that capital allowed us to do some really amazing things and I think start having some significant impact, not just on the country, but on a worldwide basis. And the way it works, and I don't want this to be a sales pitch, but the way it works, just for some context, is we work with some sort of camera, whether it's an HD camera, whether it's a cell phone. It could be as simple as broadcasting live from your cell phone. This is actually a picture of our studio we have in our LA office where we do celebrity web chats. But it starts with some sort of camera, and you can broadcast live to the world. That could be 10 people watching. That could be millions of people watching you live broadcast. And what's interesting about the live broadcasting is that it allows you to interact. It allows you to interact with the audience while they're watching. It allows the audience to interact amongst themselves. And it creates a really interesting experience. Again, think back to my days in my brother's band and what it was like at a rock concert. And so over the years, we've done everything from high school football games live. I tell the story when we did our initial investment round of our Series A, and we were actually pitching the founder of TiVo. And I won't say which one, but he basically told us we were stupid. And he said, look, nobody cares about live anymore. The realities of it are the world has gone past that. Everyone wants to watch something on VOD. And coming from a guy as successful as this, I mean, that would typically be very discouraging. And it's true. Look, I like to watch things when I want to watch them just like anyone else. But the argument we made, and the